Sure.
Check. Okay.
Are we gonna wait? It's not 7. Yeah, it's not 7. Yeah.
I'm sorry.
It's not 7 yet.
It's not set up.
We don't have everybody checked in down there.
Hold on.
It's your green room.
Go ahead and start.
You ready to start? Yep. All right. Ladies and gentlemen, live streaming the audio here in the room, of course. Everything kind of. The room, of course, bounces all the sound, so if we can speak one at a time, that's going to be the best way to do this. That's it. You feel good?
All right, let's get started. Hold the word, roll call.
Amy? Here. Ed?
Here.
David?
Yep.
Tom?
Here.
Stephen?
Here.
Bill?
Here.
And Chris is not here tonight, and Mike is not here tonight as well. And Raquel Pascucci submitted her resignation prior to the meeting tonight, and the board has accepted it. So we are all accounted for.
Okay.
About 4 o'clock.
Here's the, you want to see the
Hey, Ed was moving his daughter into college. I don't know.
Oh, Dave is excused because he's moved his daughter to college. Dave is excused.
Right.
Okay. Here's the email.
Mike.
Oh, yeah, what?
Mike. I was like, Dave's sitting right there.
Yeah, that's my good.
Okay, approve the minutes from the previous meeting on August the 10th. Everybody review them?
So,
Do I have a motion?
Motion.
Amy? And Dave seconds it. Okay, legal and administrative updates, memorandum via emails or work sessions. Everybody has a copy of the email here that the board had a situation and the board took a vote and there was 5 yeses, 1 abstain, and 2 no votes. And the motion has passed. Okay, and the second one is a vote on reinstating Bill Mitchell to the board. The board took a vote on that, and the vote was 5 yeses, 1 abstain, and 2 no votes. And the vote passed. Okay. Do I have a motion to accept that?
so moved.
Okay. Second?
Second.
Amy. Okay, a resolution to limit the use of the name of MLC for events only sponsored by Marlton Lake Civic Association. The reason for this is that under COVID, if we do something and we have our name put out there, the association would be liable for a lawsuit. So that's the reason why this is being done. So does anybody have a motion to accept it?
So moved.
Dave? Amy? It's the Dave and Amy show tonight. Okay, we have a message from JB Management.
JD Management is closing its operation at the end of December 2020 after 34 years. Sorry, Jackie's not here tonight. She's down in Florida at her new home. For those who haven't realized, she has moved out of the community. After 34 years of providing property management service to the communities in South Jersey, the owner, Jackie Bartolucci, will be retiring and ending operations as JB Management. The MLCA contract expires on 12/31/20. I personally have decided not to take over all of her contracts except the Marlton Lakes one, so I will not be doing it until the board has gone out looking for management. We would like to thank MLCA for allowing us to serve as your first ever professional management company. We feel we've accomplished everything the board has set us out to do since we were first hired in 2012. Our most important accomplishment was the collection of over $140,000 in delinquencies, which has allowed the boards to make positive changes such as docks and the clubhouse renovations. These things would not have been possible without the collections of these fees. Today, your delinquency rate is one of the lowest in the area, and we hope that your boards will be able to keep it up, the good work and keep it that way. We have guided all your boards through various challenges within the community, and we hope for the best with this board with the challenges they are facing, and know they will serve the community well. Thank you for all the years of business.
All right. Treasurer's report. Approve the bill to be paid.
Okay. Approve the bill to be paid. Second.
Let's pay the bill.
Let's pay the bill.
Yeah.
If you want to elaborate.
Okay, have you reviewed the financial report?
Okay, the financial report stands the operating account at 11,900, reserve account 47,455. There's a total cash position of 59,364.50, and the total delinquency amount of about 24,690.
Okay, motion to accept the minutes, the financial report.
So moved.
Stephen?
Second.
David, seconded? Okay. All right. Continue discussion on the 2021 budget and proposed $100 a year dues increase. Ed, you're up to bat.
So it's hard to hear me with this one. I brought this up last month, August 10th, when we had our last open board meeting. I'm having some technical difficulties, so I can't read certain things from it, but last time I didn't realize, kind of spoke the fact that it's been a very long time since we've had a dues increase. The last time we had a dues change, it was a decrease. It went from 600 per year to 500 per year. We are proposing going back to 600 per year, mainly because things just cost more as we go out. I'm working on the 2021 budget as we speak. You should have one by the next open board meeting, at least a proposed one, because things will change, and then vote on it in the November time, because that'll be the time to vote for the 21 budget. I talked about last time the fact that we live in a community that has basically a house. No one lives in it, but it's a house. The boathouse, 3 lakes, the beaches on the lakes, the dam, which includes the dam loan repayment, which has another 10 years on it, on the $1.2 million we borrowed back 10 years ago, as well as the basketball courts, the boat racks, the tennis court, the playgrounds here, the playgrounds over there, on basically a dues amount of about $176,000 per year. So if you see that as your salary, that's about what you bring in. We do get extra income, obviously, from running this, not this year so much, but running this, running the beaches out, running the boat rack, and then the guest tag fees are kind of like small amounts of income that are added. But our big thing is the dues. And just going over the last 2 years, the reserve amount has been moved over, but it stayed at a low amount for a long time, because we were paying the stuff that needed to be done, including this room that we're in. We did the roof on the boathouse and all that stuff that was done, the extension of the concrete patio with the part that went over that. We did the docks, which was a big expense, a new HVAC system for this building. So over the years, the reserve study that was done about 6 years ago, the management company, along with the boards now and past, in between that time, have paid for the things that needed to be done, and now we're at a point where that reserve amount isn't there. We need to get it built up. We are building it up, but at the same time, without a dues increase, the expenses are eating into it pretty much every year. So with that, that's what I bring it up to, about $176,000 a year about your salary, and all these things I just mentioned are what you have to pay as your expenses. Expenses as we're not profit, so it's a zero sum game at the end. So I am proposing $600 annual for 2021, which will be up for vote in November. And hopefully, you'll have a proposed budget next meeting in October. Any questions on that?
Are we going to receive a line by line, like where the money's going to be allocated, so that we make sure that it's going?
Yeah, you'll get similar to the ones you see normally, but it'll be a proposed. It won't be the approved budget you have for 2020 or 2019.
It's actually we're actually working on the 2019 budget, because we never approved the budget for 2020.
My concern is that obviously the times are tough for a lot of people in this community, and to put a race like that in on this particular year, I would love to see if you could take it back from the table and maybe shake it down a little bit, so that it's an easier adjustment for people. I'm not saying no increase. I'm saying that a lot of people are hurting right now, and that maybe this year is not the year for the $100 budget increase.
I was going to say the same thing.
Yeah, we've been shaking this
I need timing. I'm not saying
no, but you have to realize, before anything, there's a $56,000 loan that has to be paid. So when you look at that lump sum, you gotta take $56,000 right out of the get-go, okay? So that has to be paid no matter what.
That's every year.
That's 56
Right.
every year.
That's every year. We're halfway through that loan. So that has to be paid, and you know, the cost of insurance has gone up.
Right.
Everything is going up, and
Just the lake treatments alone.
yes, the
Yeah,
insurance is like
I
27.
get it, mainly
Yeah.
because if you guys didn't know, I was on the board for 6 years as treasurer, so I get to.
Okay,
Right.
yeah.
Good, so you see it.
But
We've shaken the
What I was
trees.
saying is that,
we've got to realize we probably lost $10,000 just in rental fees alone from the clubhouse being closed because of graduation parties and birthday parties and renting the beach and all that. So that's a revenue loss that we didn't expect back back early in 2019. You know, these are just like every other. We just got hit just as much as everybody else.
I understand, but you also saved $16,000 in lifeguards.
But that
This
goes.
year- this year we did. But I'm proposing in 2021 on the hope that we will have lifeguards in 21.
Right.
And I'm including that in the budget so that it's there. So right now, as it stands, I can't read it because this is a blank screen at the moment, but I put in $600 as the amount, and of course it's 85% for the seniors, and that of course has increased the total numbers about from 46, something like that. So including that as a main income, and then going through the line items with what we spent in 2020, incorporating the fact we didn't spend it in 2020, but we are hopefully going to have lifeguards in 21. That, along with making sure the reserve amount goes in at the 15,000 that should go in every year. The amount that's over is very, very minimal, and that's with the 600 hours. With 500 hours, it's a negative. I'm just putting that out there. I mean, we can sit there and go through the numbers and go back.
You know, if we don't, let's face it, if we don't get the raise, there's a good possibility we won't have lifeguards because we won't have the money to pay the lifeguards. You have to realize we get an automatic raise every year for the lifeguards because of the governor increasing the minimum wage.
And I'm including that in the current, in the 20.
And that's all included in the budget. So, you know, and we're figuring is Ed's been calculating how many lifeguards. You know, if it's a COVID year, there's 2 lifeguards plus 1. If we have to go COVID, so that all has to be figured into the budget.
I'm not even including the 3 per beach right now.
Right.
I'm including 2 per beach.
I'm not saying no, you understand, I'm not saying no increase.
Right, I'm just trying to answer your question.
That we're going to increase it. $100 is a big number for some households, and that's a lot of money for some. But it is for some people that have lost their jobs, or a number of people, or senior citizens, you know, that are struggling. And that's a big number. It's a big number. It doesn't seem like a lot, but it is. So as long as we can justify it and really look at the card and say this is necessary rather than maybe doing $50 this year, $50 next year, maybe. So that we're out of this whole COVID cycle, and then you can still get your $100, but maybe just do it.
We got a question here, and then there's and then Noel. Did you have? I saw your hand up earlier.
I'm trying to remember what. Oh, when we raised the dues to 500, that was supposed to be temporary. That was supposed to pay for them.
Yes.
That's the family paid for it.
No,
We got 10 more years on that loan.
it's a 20-year loan.
We reduced from 600 to 500. That was the last change in dues, and it was a decrease. The last increase in dues went from whatever it was, long before I was here, whatever it was, up to 600. It went down to 500. I think that happened in 2013. So it's been that since, and that was a reduction. So it's been over a decade since there's been an actual increase. And there's only been
So we have another 10 years.
we have another 10 years on the loan.
Yes.
There's a $1.2 million loan.
Yes.
1.2 million. That's a lot of money.
That's a setup, right?
What?
It's been set.
Yes.
Yeah, it's set.
It doesn't
It
doesn't go up or down. It stays. We make the same payment every year.
So we have that budgeted ready for that.
Yes.
Yes.
Right,
But you got to realize that there are other things that go up. The cost of the insurance, the cost of having the lakes treated, that goes up every year.
I get that, but I'm wondering where you got the income of 15,000 for the rental of the clubhouse and beach.
Because then here, if I'm looking at this right, it looks like on your sheet it says 4,000 here.
Tom said 10,000, and I think he was adding a bunch of stuff up.
Well, I just took a figure off the top of my head.
You were close. It's 9,000. It's 10,500 if you include the three things I mentioned.
That's includes
Clubhouse
everything.
rental, beach rental, boat racks, and guest house. You have your yearly budget on the Marshall Lake Civic Association income and expense statement. And you see beach clubhouse rental is 3 lines down. The yearly budget, 5,000.
Yeah, 4,000.
Beach tag.
Beach tag's not in the right.
Beach tag is, you're right, it's not in there, but that's the number that is for this year, obviously it's not in there, but.
So wait, we only lost 4,000 rentals.
1,500 in boat rack rental.
We still got that. So we only lost 4,000 in the rentals, but we also didn't pay for lifeguards. And we didn't pay
No, we
for
lost.
lake testing. So
We might be zero on here, but
Lake,
we lost
the lake gets treated every year.
What I say, tested.
Right, I
We didn't
So
get
we
it.
saved
we
money
didn't get
on
it
that.
tested.
So wait, we saved money about 25,000 on the lifeguards and an extra, how much on not testing the lake? But yet, that increase is still going to be $100 a year. I just don't see.
Well, that increase is incorporating the fact that will be happening in 21. For 20, that might be the case, but for 21, I'm assuming, hopefully, we'll have lifeguards, we'll have lake testing.
Well, I really don't want to hear a whooping when we didn't have them this year.
Well, I can only set up because we have no control over what
Right, I know
this
what you're
virus
saying.
and the restrictions placed on us by the governor. We don't know what it'll be then. When I say hope, I'm saying that personally, I hope that they're.
Okay, you're not saying hoping because the money won't be there, you're saying hoping because.
I'm saying hoping for them to open the beaches by the state government.
Okay.
And then hopefully we'll have enough money to open them too.
Oh, now it's the money. See, that's
No, it's not now it's money. It's, when I say that, I'm saying it in relation to the state putting restrictions on us. And when I say hope, it's like when we vote and we do vote in the increase, then that should make it easier to have lifeguards.
I'm just gonna put it out there that it's gonna be really hard to convince this community of $100 increase when we didn't have lifeguards this year.
It may be the case, but I think that's one.
Maybe a
That's one
$50,
thing compared to another one.
see if we can do maybe a $50, like.
You got to realize we're in a process of doing two things here. We're in the process of getting a new management company. Okay, as of right now, we don't know what the cost of that is going to be. We're also in the process of getting bids for landscaping contracts. The landscaping contracts are up. So there's more than likely there's going to be increases in probably both or maybe one of them. These are unseen things that we can't see.
We're turning over every rock.
Believe me,
Really?
we're not sitting here saying, oh, we're raising it $100. We're digging through all this.
I can assure you, all of our spouses do not want us to sit on this board anymore.
I spend more time, I'm retired, I spend more time on the computer answering emails back and forth, 4 hours a day, than I did when I worked
I'm
40
telling
hours.
you, we have turned over rocks. We're looking under tree stumps.
I appreciate it. It's not easy. My husband is on the board. It's not easy.
No,
And
it
we
is.
do appreciate you, and you're probably taking a lot of grief and grunt, from
And I
everybody.
think we've gotten to a point where the surplus, as Melissa brought up earlier, JV had collected a lot of delinquencies that went on for a long time. But that was a nice surplus of money that helped fix a lot of things that needed fixing for a long time also. That heyday is over. The money's just.
And I think one thing you want to add is that we're really trying to get our reserves on track here.
Yeah.
And we need reserves. We can't
You
keep
can't
operating with nothing in the bank.
Let me ask you a
Or very little.
question, and just, I'm not trying to be mean or anything, but did we just overspend? Is that
No,
what
we fixed what we needed to fix, okay? The heater in this building died to the point that when the heater guy came in, he said, you can't get parts for it anymore. The heater had to be replaced. The docks, this one over here was leaning backwards. It was unsafe. It had to be repaired. I wouldn't want my grandchildren or any of your children to be on the dock and they jump off of it and it collapses underneath them.
Right.
That's why it was
But
fixed.
that's the price is the thing. I understand everything had to be fixed, but maybe we just overspent on how much we spent on these fixes.
Well, this is,
I mean, I just heard from the children's community leader that now we're not gonna have funds to even pay for our Halloween parade we're supposed to do and our breakfast with Santa. Like, that's only $500. Like, we don't have $500 to give to those events that we've had since 40 years.
Yeah, but I think it's more of a COVID thing.
Yeah.
That's
it's,
why
it's not that we don't want to give the funds.
Yeah.
You can't open this room up and bring all the children in here. When your kids can't even go to school.
It was outside. Halloween parade was outside.
Well, and
No, you're right, we couldn't get, what was it, the fire department?
we can't get the fire department.
Right.
So
Because they
that's
usually check
free.
on this stuff.
What-
That's free. Like,
Right, but
Well-
that wasn't a money thing. That was.
I'm gonna ask for greater clarification from the board then, because, and forgive me, my memory does not always serve me well, but I remember in discussions, we were going over the seriousness of our budget issues and turning over rocks and looking under stumps and all of that. And, the events committee came up, and what I came away with was that we were temporarily suspending the allocation of those funds for the remainder of this year, being that it's a COVID year. I know we've got event committees working together to plan some things. I had intended to come back to this board and say, hey, can we throw in some money to launch this? So that's a discussion we can have later when we get to that portion of the thing, because perhaps I misunderstood, but I thought that we had said as a board majority that it was to be suspended. And I communicated that to the individuals that have been volunteering and giving a lot of time to host and plan these types of events, just as an FYI, so that we could get our ears working in other ways, so that we can still have these things without the MLCA support, but really have it that grassroots, effort. We would all be thrilled if we can come out here tonight and say, sure, we'll give you $50 or $100 for this or that. The two remaining, I guess I'm just going to segue into that portion. The two remaining events that are traditionally expected at this time of year for the remainder of the year are the Halloween parade and the breakfast with Santa, or cookies with Santa, as it was last year. Back in early August, I think, I had sent an email out to my contact with the Eastham Fire Department, and they responded that they would no longer be able to accommodate our request for the fire truck-led parade. That was something that they kind of put in my ear last year when I organized it, and it was due to the need throughout the township, and they felt like, we love you guys, we know it's a tradition, but we can't cater to your community continuously as we're serving, all of Eastham Township. At the time, I did ask them if they had a date planned, as far as the township goes, on when Santa would be coming on the truck. They didn't have that scheduled on their end yet, but I was trying to just glean it out of them so that we could maybe plan things around that date. That's not scheduled yet. I did send out, as I said, an email to quite a large number of people that I've been tracking over the last couple of years as having worked or expressed interest in planning, participating, assisting with any events that we've held. And we have a working group now that has come up, led by Corinne, for the Halloween portion. She made copies, so those of you that are interested, there's a lot of fun planned here. We will also post it on the Marlton Lakes Bulletin Board Facebook page. I'm sure it'll be on.
Well, nothing is set in stone. That
Okay.
was approved by you guys.
Oh, okay. Well,
This
then,
was because we thought we had no budget. If you have a budget, that would be even better, but this is all things that we can do as a community with, you know.
sure. And the Halloween's pretty easy. I mean, fire truck or no fire truck, we can still have a parade. And I see that that's on here. So I'll read from this quickly. October 17th, Halloween walkthrough. The use of this land here, typically in a non-COVID year, we would ask that you would just check with the management company to make sure that there's no conflict in a beach rental or building rental. It's not going to be an issue this year. So October 17th, the use of the woods behind the clubhouse for the look and find for the younger kids, and then it gets a little spookier first in the evening. On the 18th, Halloween parade. We've got lots of golf carts in the community. We've got fun pickup trucks, even a tractor I see driving around sometimes, so people can decorate those. Pumpkin decorating contest. And I do see that there is social distancing kept in mind here, and that's, you know, great. And it's not being advertised as MLCA because we talked about earlier on the Marlton Lakes. So all of this, in my opinion, is fine. I can pass this down if all of you want to see it. And it would just be a matter of, you know, if you have a proposed budget that you would like for us to look at as far as spending, then we'll take a look at that. And I'll, you know, as I said earlier, we approach the other board members about that. As far as I know, I have some folks that have tossed around some ideas for Christmas. I do not know that I have an official, what do I call it, chair for the Christmas events. So I will be touching base with those folks again and see if there's anybody that really wants to spearhead those conversations and make some solid plans. One of our board members who is not able to join us tonight was our Santa the last couple of years, and he is eager to continue with that. We had a wonderful Easter bunny. We may do something similar with Santa. Obviously, kids aren't going to be allowed on Santa's laps, but there's no reason why we still can't continue to celebrate. We just got to get really creative and figure a way to do that. And I know we've got a lot of creative minds in the community that can still make things really special, not just for the kids, but for the adults too. So that is for the remainder of 2020. And I did put out in my email that I would like to see folks, you know, start to turn their wheels about 2021. I personally would like to sketch out the calendar for next year and just start bullet pointing things, and then we have time to plan, but let's get things on the calendar because time goes so fast. You know, so anyway, that's.
Well, can we officially ask the board if they can look through how much they can give our event committee? And then can you guys tell us how much, and then we'll use whatever you get, and we'll come up with a plan?
It would be easier to come up with a plan knowing that budget.
Yeah, if it's better knowing how much money you guys are gonna give, I don't know how much it was already in the budget.
I don't think there was there anything in the budget for,
As far as I know, go down to 2020.
well, would be in the 19th budget.
Already.
We'll discuss it and we'll see what we can do.
If you're pricing things
Oh,
out.
here it is on here, $1,500. That's how much was budgeted.
That's probably for the whole year.
Yes, right.
And we saved some money. With the last couple of events, we really did things a little bit more homespun, and they were still just as wonderful, so we have been saving some money on that end too. But I'm one of 9, so if you have if you priced out anything in particular, having some numbers might be helpful for us too. You know, we took down the tree when the trees fell. That was an unexpected expense that we were all like, are you kidding me? Like 2020 just won't stop giving, right? So, you know.
Signs are a lot of money too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sure.
You know, looking at this, I can obviously tell that we do need an increase. Pretty much at a break even. Board knows that this budget's going to fill in the expenses for the rest of the year. It's going to hit 190. Board doesn't know exactly if they're getting the full 190 income. But my question is, if we're having a $100 increase, 20%, it's gonna bring in $35,000 in income and dues. And, we had budgeted the lifeguards for $20,000, figuring all the expenses. Now that's without increases because of COVID. But that leaves only 15 grand. I was wondering, you know, kind of what the board's substantiation was for the
Reserves.
Reserve. Yeah. My next question is, what is kind of the goal for the reserves?
15, about 15 changes from year to
Well,
year.
that's for the balance.
That's 15.
For the balance rather than the contribution.
I'm sorry, forgive me.
What's your goal for the balance of the reserve account? You're putting in 15,000 every year, right?
That's what we try to do, because the last 2 years have been.
Over the years.
Yeah, but you guys are putting in 15,000 each year. What is your goal to have that balance? You're gonna stop when it reaches 60,000 or?
So what's typically this is done with a reserve study that we have done every 5-6 years, and that's who says, okay, this is what needs to be done. And as you know, at the end of the year, our audit, we get an audit every year, so we know where every dollar's going. And he says, okay, realistically, you can put this much in. You're shooting for 15, but you can put 5 or 6 in, whatever it is, at the end of every year. A budget, when it's introduced, is an anticipation.
Right, and I understand the whole reserves, and I was just curious kind of what our goal is. You know, if we're reaching to get $60,000 in total reserves.
But right now, in the next couple of years, according to the last reserve study, the next thing that really needs to be done that would be considered a reserve type item would be the septic system at the moment.
Okay.
No, it's a cesspool.
It's a cesspool.
It is right
Here
now.
also.
To put a septic
It's a
system.
cesspool, so if that breaks down, you're looking at probably a $25,000 bill.
Each side.
It's just a.
Where the question comes in is what's considered a healthy reserve to carry? What is the target? Like you're contributing 15,000 a year. What is considered healthy until you can say, okay, we don't need to contribute to reserve this year?
I'm not sure typically what the reserve audit says. I don't remember, but
Yeah.
I can tell you that I'm a board, and I typically hold, about 1/10 of the amount, the property amount. So if you got this, it's just round numbers. $100,000 property, that 10 grand sit in the reserve account. So whatever X number of dollars.
I mean, one of the last reserve study, just to give you an idea, said that the tennis courts should be replaced. He had
I
a
think that should be the last one.
well, I'm just going to tell you what it said on the reserve study. He gave us a cost of $236,000 to replace the tennis courts.
We all have.
We all looked at it and said, he's nuts.
That's a luxury.
Excuse me, I never said you
But-
were right.
No, but that's what the study does. It comes in and looks at things.
It says how much.
Right. These are things that are going to may have to be replaced. Right. So, and then he's giving us a cost of what it has.
Right.
So we went over there because me and Dave fixed the net, and then Dave replaced the net. And we looked at it, and basically, I personally don't see anything. The only thing I see wrong with the tennis courts is it probably needs to be sealed where the cracks all filled, so water doesn't get in there and freeze and lift it up.
And we're willing to do that.
And
we're actually, you guys, we'll do small stuff.
me and Dave, and we've been out doing things, but if the septic system goes bad, we don't have the money. You're not going to be able to use that beach over there.
So basically, when our reserves are around 40,000, we obviously need more.
Right.
You increase a full $100, it's extra 15 grand, it's down to 10 grand after more than goes in the reserves. And we're still not really setting free for this whole septic issue and things like that. So those increases really substantiated that whole.
Well, and that's the whole thing.
Yeah.
If something drastic happens here, if the septic system goes bad here, or goes bad on the other side, and believe me, it depends on. There's a lot of factors here because the township's going to get involved in this. Okay, you have to have an engineer come in. An engineer's going to charge you at least $2,000 just to draw off the plans. And his problem may be is that because the water table's so high here, that you may have to put in what they call a Michigan hump system, where you have a big hump out over here because the water table's too high, because the water can't, the septic field can't leach in, and that there's cost. You don't know until you start digging.
So those reserve things are total necessity.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And that thing, keep increasing increasing it is a necessity.
Yes, yeah. I mean, it's one of those things, it would be nice not to raise the dues, but if something happens, I'd hate to come back and say, hey, listen, we have to assess everybody in this neighborhood $200 because we don't have the money to pay for a septic system. That would be a bigger shock. That would be a bigger shock than we're trying to put the horse in front of the cart, you understand, to keep it moving.
I don't know if you guys got this. Did you all have that? Okay, you guys got it? It's pretty self-explanatory. I mean, there's going to be questions in it, but, you know, look, the audit alone every year is $6,500. Those tax accountants can just rob people. Oh, please.
That is offer one bit of insight. This is one thing I just wanted to run real quick. So you said it's 10 years since the last time it was increased, right? So $500.
Yes.
Right? 10 years US dollar inflation. $500 10 years ago was $595.99 this year. It's almost exactly $100 increase over 10 years. I mean, that makes sense to me. It just,
and what she said about the people in the neighborhood who lost their jobs to COVID, we understand that. And this board is willing to work with anybody who has a financial problem. If you don't come to the board and you say you don't have a finance, you tell us, we'll work with you. But if we don't know, we can't work with you. You understand? I mean, that's very simple. Question?
Yeah, and that was my question, because I think, you know, it's an excellent point that there's people struggling in our neighborhood. And we're all neighbors, and we care about each other, and we don't want anything to be put out, but at the same time, we have valid expenses that have to be paid. Right. So what do? And so I am not in a situation financially where I'm struggling right now. You know, I sent some money to Noelle because she started collecting, you know, outside of MLCA to try to help people. But I think the confusing issue is, how do we address who is, you know, they, like, yeah, you're saying they have to come to you, right? Is it something where, like, whatever excess Noelle has, and I'm not trying to speak for Noelle because I haven't talked to her about this in advance, and I don't know how she was trying to figure out who needed help, but I was just wondering if there's a way that, as a community, we can contribute and say, I am willing to give this amount of money up to whoever wants to do that towards people who are telling the board that they're struggling.
Well, now, I'm going to make a suggestion. Then I think, like Amy puts together her committees, if you would like to put together a committee, if somebody comes to us and says that they're struggling, and we could forward that name on to you. You understand what I'm saying? But again, it's a privacy issue.
Right.
We're not allowed to say, hey, listen, go to Joe Blow and such, you know, he's financially.
And so I'm not necessarily suggesting I don't need a name.
No, but
right? I'm just saying, if we collect funds and someone's willing to contribute, can we contribute into a fund that is for COVID? So
here's kind of the scenario that was brought to us. All of us completely agree with this idea. We really do. And the problem was really, when it was brought to us by the management company, was that who decide who gets it? How do we check that they really need it? Okay, that's great. You're maybe out of a job, but you got Alexa sitting in the driveway. That's a really hard thing to do.
So I thought about that. And I think, of course. And you're going to have, I hate to say it, but you're going to have some people who aren't really struggling who are saying, I'd like some money. But honestly, I do not think that's going to be the bulk of the people. So to me, if a few people like that slip in, and most of the people are people in need, what are you going to do? And I don't think the board should spend all of their time trying to figure out, I don't know, send me your financial statement, what kind of cars do you have? It's not, you can't possibly do that.
But once again, okay.
And how long does it go on?
How long does it go on for?
You know?
Listen, I commend. It's a great idea, but then again, as a board, so we say you get the money, and we say, this person. Then somebody finds out, well, I lost my job 3 months ago, and the board didn't give me anything. why does he get something? And it becomes, you understand? And what you're doing, I think is, I commend you. No, well, you think alike, which is great, because you're trying to help the community. That's the most important thing here. And that's believe it or not, everybody thinks we're the enemy up here. We are not the enemy. We're your neighbors.
I don't think you're gonna
I've lived here over. Well, it is. I lived here 30 years. I've raised 3 kids here. I've been here a long time. I've seen people come and go and whatever, but I agree. I mean, personally myself, I'm a senior, but there are seniors in this neighborhood who probably could use help too, because they're on a fixed income or they're on a pension where they've been retired for 10 years and they've never got an increase in their pension.
Or they're simply too proud to eat.
Or, yeah, absolutely, too proud.
But we do have something for that situation, right? Isn't there
a senior discount?
A senior discount, yes.
But, I mean,
it's not a lot.
It's not.
15%.
15%.
Yeah.
But this is how I figured it. I talked to Jackie, and I said, Jackie, I understand you can't give out personal information. I've never asked that of you. Of course, that's like not, liable. I said, if somebody comes to you and is saying, I'm having a hard time paying my bill, do you have something that's in state hey, I'll skip a month or, without late fee or something like that? So if you come across anybody that says, I'm having a hard time, give them my phone number.
That's the best.
We'll take care of it.
That's the best way to do it.
And I will tell you that we have not got one phone call this whole entire time, even prior to you going out to do anything.
This whole thing stems from Facebook by one person saying something. Nobody's gone to the management company and asked.
So I think, can you say that? Can you repeat that? I think that's good for people to hear, because I think people get upset because they think you don't care. But I think what you're saying is we can only care if we know.
That's true. So right now, this whole thing, and believe me, all of us here feel it too, with COVID, and expenses are tightening. Everybody's feeling it. The problem right now, this whole issue started with a post on Facebook. Let's just say that. That is the only post that anybody knows about. No one has called the management company and said, hey, I'm running a little tight here. Everybody's willing to.
I do have a friend, and she did call the management company, and she said she's having a hard time paying because she's in the restaurant business, and of course, there's no weddings, no nothing. So she said, I'm having a hard time, and there's a $150 attorney fee getting attached to her association fee, and she can't even pay this year, and now she's having $150. She can't do it.
I'm not going to get into the situation, but that's not 100% truthful.
Okay, so what is the truth?
It's a private conversation between me and the resident.
But is there $150 fee?
A collection fee, yes, it gets to the point.
But that only gets.
Put a lien on the house to protect the association. Yes.
But that only gets checked on after a second.
No, I can't get into that conversation or their account, but that is not 100% the truth.
So how many years?
You can go ahead and text them, it's full, they'll tell you how much, I can give you the email back and forth.
How much time does it take to get the $150?
You have to be delinquent for 9 months and after multiple notifications from us.
9 months is not a lot of time.
But there's multiple years prior for certain people that end up certain places.
That makes sense.
So if somebody is late, 9 months late on their payment, they're gonna get $150.
No, if somebody is 9 months late on their payment, they just received a letter from our attorney, a collection letter that costs $30. They got a $30 increase.
Now,
and if they do not reach out at that point, which is dated in that collection letter, please contact management if you believe this isn't true. After, now mind you, 3 letters from us saying you owe money, you owe money, you owe money, friendly reminder, can you please pay? At that point, the attorney's letter says you have 30 days to respond. If not, a lien will be placed on the property and at this cost.
And that's $150.
Because that's illegal, that's what the courts cost to put a lien on the property.
So So actually it's like 150 and 30, and it's 180. That's for a year, with being in arrears for a year.
With no communication whatsoever with us.
Can we cut this just for a minute? You know what, stop. We're getting off the budget. Ed was doing the discussion.
Would you like to ask a question?
Okay.
So my question about budget is, do you have a plan in place for the vote? Since everything's being done virtually and there's only about 15 people allowed in here?
We are working on that. It's either going, we haven't decided how we're going to do it, but we will be having a vote. It may be, you may get mailed to your house and dropped off here. We just haven't put it all together, but we are going to do something that, we're not going to bring, you can't have anything, you can only have 15 people here. It's not fair to the people in the neighborhood. So we are working, and we will have it figured out.
And is it one person per household, or whoever's name is on the deeds? Who gets the vote?
Did you remember that? Let's remember that.
It's two interest owners of the property.
Yes. So if it's
no more than two.
So if the house is deeded in you and your husband's name, two votes. If it's one person, one vote. Okay? That's the way it goes.
Thank you.
All right.
One last question.
One more question?
If we were to want to do, because of COVID, I know previous stance of the board, but if we were to want to consider opening up in 2021 to have somebody want to chair and run some sort of a festival to help offset costs for things. It would be like a one-day event or something. Would that be something that the board might at least be able to?
Listen, at this point in time, if the governor says tomorrow that he's lifting all the COVID stuff, you could run anything you want. As long as the governor has his thumb on everybody.
But I'm saying, is that something?
Yes, we're open to any.
Come on down. We're open to any ideas.
We're open to any suggestions to help offset. I mean, we used to have, the one guy wanted to used to have the run through the neighborhood. So we're open.
Last year, actually.
But you got to realize, we will, once things open up, we will be open to whatever, okay? Is that all the questions for the manager? One more question.
I was just wondering, it says management fees, 15,000. Is that a year? Because I know Jack got paid much more than that, if I'm not mistaken.
You could take 21,000.
21,000.
Pardon?
21,000
a year.
21,000.
I thought it was more.
No.
No.
Plus.
Yeah,
Okay. Since they said that the management company Jackie is retired, the board has put out 4 bids for management companies. We have interviewed all 4 companies, and I would say it's probably down to 2 management companies. And by next meeting, we will know who the management company is.
So we were also talking about, this is September. COVID break. This is September, so we're going to have a meeting October, November, and I believe December.
Yes.
So by
November or December, we will have the new management company.
Correct. So that's where I was going.
And
by December.
Introduce. Technically, it would be her, because everybody that we interviewed was a female.
Seems to be a female dominant
world
there.
So it would be a female.
Yeah. So December meeting will most likely include a meet and greet with the new management company.
So go ahead.
Just throwing this out. The lakes used to be run by volunteers, by the residents. Do we need a full-time manager?
Yes.
Can we do it just?
Because we don't have enough volunteers.
No, you can't.
Everybody says they want to do it.
No, you just listen. You just can't.
I have a volunteer list, and never once did Jackie ask.
This is 2020.
This is
Nobody wants to volunteer.
people are. Who's going to collect the dues? Who's going to go knock on people's doors and say,
We need a couple people on the
You
board.
didn't, you didn't pay your dues. Are you gonna go knock on your neighbor's
Right,
door and
exactly.
say, you didn't pay $500 or $600? That's why we have a management company and we have an attorney.
That's the problem.
I just want to say, having conversed with these people for the last 2 years, and I don't want to say pushing my way to it, but having a presence here to stand up for and hold dear and continue to hold dear the things that I do, being a resident here for over 35 years myself. I think what we're trying to shape is a perfect marriage between a management company, a community that acknowledges the necessity of a management company, because life gets in the way of even the most well-meaning volunteers. And we can't allow a hiccup in someone's life to devastate a potentially really important matter that needs to be addressed. However, that's not to say that we don't want to be in open communication with our residents, understand talents, trades, etc., and allow people to say, hey, this is my thing, I can help you with that. Tonight's meeting, thank you, Phil Palumbo, he's got a tech gift, and he is sharing that with us so that we can communicate with a broader audience than the people that are able to be present with us tonight. So we're working toward that marriage between a community that has members who are actively involved through volunteerism, but that are working with a management company to take care of those things. And it's going to be a little bit of give and take, and the Board of Trustees needs to be trusted to be making good decisions when not everything can be disseminated to everybody all the time, because too much communication can really jump up the works and cause greater delays when there are serious matters that need to be tended to. I hope that speaks to you in some way and that it answers any question that you have, but I don't think any of us really agree at this point in time that to go back to the way things were when it was a truly volunteer-run community. I just don't think in today's day and age that that's practical and wise for all of us.
And to be perfectly honest with you, I think it's a very litigious society right now. If somebody even so much as steps 1 foot out of the line, somebody's going to sue us. We've already been threatened, so, you know, the 21 grand a year.
Anyone can sue. Anyone can threaten to sue. You say it's a litigious society. That's
Yeah. Well, just for insurance, I mean, there's $27,000 a year, and includes D&O insurance, directors and officers insurance. So it includes D&O, or directors and officers insurance, which covers us volunteers, you know, putting in this time, you know, so in case we get sued because somebody had a gripe with us. So I'm stunned, but, you know, it amazes me. But really, we can't get volunteers because nobody just wants to put out the time.
People's lives are too, people's lives, okay. People's lives are too busy.
Wonderful. Meet up with Amy. Meet up with Amy. Yep. Meet up with Amy then.
Question.
Well said, Bonnie.
Thank you.
I'm not gonna.
Question on the bids, how did they come in? Were they in line with what we're paying now, or were they more?
So I took all that on my plate. That was all me. And I contacted actually 5 different companies, and including Melissa was yet another bid, and she pulled out. So we have 4 bids. Monday night we sat through 2 interviews, and Friday night we sat through Wednesday and Friday. We sat through 2 interviews for a total of 4 interviews. We asked them a litany of questions. We got a ton of answers, and we pretty much kind of did a straw poll, and we've got it narrowed down to 2 companies. So we're within where we want to bid. Let's just put it that way.
Financially comparable.
Yes. So I don't want to really say a whole
I
lot.
was just curious to see if it was, you know,
Was it?
coming. I was just curious to see if it was going to come in a lot higher.
Well, it's there. It's in the ballpark.
It is.
That's good.
Okay.
We're doing our best here. We really are.
I expected it to be higher.
Amy, you already talked about the special events, correct?
Yes.
If you want to, one of our board members would like to speak.
Okay, I'm finding that you can't really hear through these masks. So I'm gonna give it up for now. Make sure I'm in my hearing list. I had something I wanted to say, and the discussion so far strangely resonated with it. I don't quite know where to go with it now. So I'll read you what I had earlier this week, last week. I wanted to take a minute to look at 2021 as part of a much bigger picture that I fear is in danger of being lost. I saw a movie the other day about a small fishing village off the coast of England where everybody seemed to thrive and be happy despite scarce resources. It seemed like this was because they were united in their faith that everyone was working for the common good. The tone was one of harmony, even during disputes, because they knew that anger and hostility is based on fear, and that fear only breeds more fear. And problems seemed to resolve themselves. It was like magic or a miracle. And I'm figuring, nice warm story, but not real. Nothing like what I've been experiencing in my village or my world these days. But as the final credits rolled, I saw the announcement that this production was based on a true story. So maybe, I thought, just maybe, all those teachings about the nobility of the human spirit are based on true wisdom. And if we believe something is possible, then it is possible. It's possible that the pandemic will subside in 2021, and we can reclaim our beaches and the rest of our lives. It will be even better because of what we learned from the pandemic. It's possible that the new budget will allow us to maintain pride in our community. It's possible that our new property manager, and we have new board members coming on, will work well with incumbents and create a great dynamic within the board and the community. It's a certainty that we have some very dedicated numbers people who are going to keep culling the budget to make sure we're as lean and mean as we could possibly be. And it's possible that 2021 will be the best year in our history. In the big picture, if we believe it's possible, then it is possible. And that's all I wanted to say. Thanks.
Okay, outstanding business. I don't think we have any. Okay, new business. Okay, open forum for residents and comments. I think.
Go ahead.
Go ahead, okay.
Then I'll go through the ones I got.
She has questions that people email.
Okay,
Yes.
let everybody know that yes, we still have the yard sale, and this is not MLCA stuff here, but you can still get on the bandwagon, drop off your form to me. I'm still looking for those donations. As we see, we'll work out something with the people that need it. And maybe if the board members, or Dave, I think you have a DB board, you can put on the DB board, maybe that to reach out to me with my email, you have my email. Somebody needs some help.
Did you send me? I don't remember.
No, Amy gave you that.
Oh, Amy, so this is
No, she's talking about the yard sale.
the yard sale. All right, if you want to scoot it over to Amy, she'll get it to me, and I'll throw it on the Facebook bulletin board.
Okay.
That's no problem.
And then if somebody has, financial, needs help, we'll get some
Well,
money.
if anybody has financial problems, we'll direct them to you.
Yeah.
Okay?
That's what she said.
Okay, anybody else have any questions? Go ahead, Melissa.
Okay, we
Oh,
got a couple of questions came in just as the meeting started. The first one is the treasurer bonded.
Yes, so was the whole board.
Yes, they're all covered by D&O insurance for anything they do, and anything they do wrong, the association's covered by the insurance. Number 2, any monies allocated for the lifeguards proposed in the 2020 budget, were those funds allocated to a different item, if so where? I think Ed would pretty much cover that.
Yeah, we're talking about it later. If they still have a question, you can answer it later. I think it's
What was the cost of the signs at the beach? I think they might be talking about the new signs, possibly, the COVID signs that had to go up by the state.
Yeah.
And they were state mandated, they weren't by choice, by anybody's choice at all, they had to go up.
Word for word, actually.
Yeah.
Word for word, exactly what's on there, the state made us put them up.
The size, double
The
size.
size, actually how they were, was all these rules on what exactly they had to do and say, and how big and where they needed to be placed.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking, like 1,500?
I think roughly they were about 15, no more than 2, if I'm right, for all of the beaches, and that's including 1, 2, and then I believe ones are put by the tennis court. Can there be a question only and or suggestion only email that does not go to the management company and actually goes to a board member or someone that is actually willing to answer a question politely, professionally, completely? Well, I will just say that JV management's policy, not just here, everywhere, is we do not allow direct access to the board because, as we know, we all have lives, they all have lives. We get paid to deal. So we filter everything through them. Everything that comes to us goes directly to them. They tell us how they want us to answer the question and we get it back if necessary. There is not one time is anything answered that is answered directly from us. I'm sorry this person did not get the answers they wanted to get and took it wrongly that we were being rude about it, but we are very to the point, we don't put feelings into it. Hence, and just on a personal note, because there is so much feeling about me having such a history with the community, because I've lived here for 35 years, bought my own house here, and involved, that to take the personal out of it, I am taking the person out of the situation, and that is it. So now there will be no more, I answered someone like this, I answered someone like this, I know something about you, I know something about you. No more. We're done. God willing to everybody. I love everybody here. I grew up here. Once a Laker girl, always a Laker girl. This is how it is. And that's it. I know whatever the board decides, they're going to do a good job, and they know that they always have Jackie and me to come to if there's questions, including the new management. So it's not like, again, as everyone knows, I went a walk a mile away. I didn't go anywhere. So, Jackie, although went to Clark, she's a little bit further, but that's besides.
I've given a lot of thought to this idea of individual board members responding to residents' questions, complaints, or whatever. It seems to me that that just adds to the confusion because there are 9 of us, not one of us has the same perspective. So it's easy to assume that if you get an individual response from a board member, you're getting the board's response, and that's just not the case.
And that's the point of having a management company. We are there to filter through, find the main decision, and get it out to the answers to the person. That's what our job is. Our job is a liaison between the board and the residents, between contractors and the residents and the board. That's what a management company does. We don't make decisions, they make decisions, we just get info out. But so I don't know how the new management company will handle it. I'm just speaking for JV management, how we handle it for everybody. Did an RFQ go out for a new management company? If so, has it been advertised, and why did residents not get notified?
No, that's a board decision.
That's a board decision. It's a contract. That's all. It's the same as landscaping. It's the same as the insurance. It's the same as anything. We are a contractor. We are not employees. If it was an employee situation, that might have been different. We are a contractor. We could have walked prior. They could have kicked us out prior. We didn't have to wait till the end of it.
Yeah, so long story short, I came on the board in January, and I wanted to change things because I got upset too at one of the meetings. So I started on the insurance policy, and I dug through that thing. I don't even remember how many, 200 and some odd pages. It's ridiculously long because we're covered for everything under the sun, but you need to be.
Except for COVID.
Except for COVID. So I tore through that policy.
I know there's something that you would get swimming in the lake, but that's besides the point.
And I threw it out. Actually, Raquel and I both threw it out to a number of different companies. Some companies went, yeah, you're with Hardenberg, we don't even want to touch it. Other companies came back in with bids and they were right on the money. And we were literally at the 11th hour that night that we had to make a decision. And we stuck with what we had because we knew we were right on the money. We were already getting other bids on it. And rather than accidentally forget something and it not be in the policy, let's just stay where we're at. We know we're not $5,000 too high or $2,000 too high. We're right in the ballpark. And after that, I took on the management situation. And the next thing is going to be the web design and the new management company. There's going to be a lot of interesting changes. So we're talking about a number of things like a personal portal for every resident that you can go in, you can see what you owe, so on and so forth. And there's going to be a lot of interesting stuff. I'm not even going to give it all away right now, but so it's going to be a little bit more tech savvy and a little bit more like what we're used to, doing banking and stuff like that. Yeah.
Especially with the insurance, when you put out insurance, most of the insurance goes to a broker, and then the broker brokers it. He puts it out and tries to get the cheapest price that he can possibly get for your cover. So that's Dave put out to a broker, and Hardenberg is the guy that we use right now. So there are things that we do. This is a bid. Bill got a bid for landscaping. This is a bid. The contract's up for landscaping. We're trying to consolidate instead of using, right now, we're using 2 landscaping companies to do one job. We're trying to consolidate to cut the cost as much as possible. It takes.
You might want to explain why.
Well, it takes, because you're not going to believe why the one company that does our landscaping will not cut the weeds on the dam, because one of his, whatever they're called, the phragmites or whatever, because one of his employees got stung by a bee. He refused not to cut them, so we had to go out and hire another company, because you can cut it with a machine. You can cut it with a machine so far, but then you have to get down to the water. It has to all be cut by hand, and that was the reason he gave us. So we're trying to consolidate that all into one deal. So it might be a little bit cheaper than what we're paying right now. I mean, it's not like we're sitting here and going, oh yeah, that's a good bid. Look, we are doing everything that we can possibly do is to pinch every penny out of that budget.
We're literally turning over every contract.
I'm serious. We have figured, I'm a resident here, so I don't want to have to pay an extra $100 a year. But if I have to, I'm going to. But we have tried everything that we can possibly do to save money. I mean, it's not like we're throwing money away because of things. We're not. This board has put in more time. Wednesday, we were here from 7 o'clock till 10 o'clock.
6:30.
Yeah, 6:30.
I left at 10:15
we got here.
and y'all were still here.
Friday night, we were here from 6:30 till, I think we walked out, it was almost 10 o'clock at night. And we don't get paid to do this. We sat here and talked to 4 management companies, and Dave put a list of probably 100 questions. Asking questions, the one question that Dave didn't put down there, because I was on the board of directors for credit union years ago, I wanted to know if all their people were bonded.
Good question.
Because they deal with our money. If somebody writes a check, you understand? Because everything's done, a lot of stuff's done electronically now. And by the time we get to look at it, and everybody's bonded, and everybody has insurance, and it's been a long process, and we wanted, before that, me and Dave actually met with 3 of the management companies during the week and drove around the neighborhood, showed them everything that we wanted done. And the one management company said, when's the bid up? And we said December 31st. She says, why are you doing it so early? I said, because we want it done. We want to have it done because we know that they're exiting by October, November. We want it in place, in writing, that we have a management company.
Smooth transition.
So it's a smooth transition where they can walk out on December 31st and the new management company can take over January 1st. And everything is in place where you guys, when you send your payments in, you know where the payments are going to go. You're not saying, hey, well, I sent it to this bank and they sent the check back to me. we don't want that. We want a smooth transition. So we've spent a lot of time.
And the one management company that we didn't have to escort around knows the place because she lives in Medford Lake, so she's a Laker. So she actually came around and did her own tour because she knows it. And you know,
but we are, believe me, we are trying to pinch every penny out of it. And I got to give kudos to Ed because Ed has taken more time than he, as a treasurer, he spent, I think, we both were over at Jackie's house, what, twice? Where we sat and we took every bill and we went through every bill. Like, it was our own budget and all. And every time we asked for something, the management company gave it to us, and he would ask the question and they would answer the question for us. So, you know, you hear people say, oh, there's money missing. There's no money missing here. It's here. We spend what we have to spend. We don't throw parties, and there's nobody going on a cruise, and there's nobody going to the bar and having a few drinks. There's none of that going on here. There ain't no money here to do it.
We need it.
But after this,
it's tough 9 months on this.
Yeah.
This is for the nomination process.
Yeah, I know, right?
I'm sorry if you decided to run, but that's the thing. And anybody else have any questions?
There's more on this list.
Okay.
Please explain in detail the justification for the proposed increase in dues during a year not much was open or happened, and multiple residents fell on hard times. I think we basically covered that one.
Yes.
Do they have access to this, what we're looking at?
They will after the meeting.
After the meeting.
We don't put it out to
We
them.
can't put it out after the meeting.
So Dave will have it up on Facebook. Yeah, right after the meeting.
I'll put it up on Facebook.
Yeah. Yeah, I sent him a copy to go on. Why was the lake not treated, and if money was allocated for that in the budget, where is it reallocated? The lake has been treated. Again, the lake does not get treated for swimming. The lake has never been treated for swimming. No lake in existence has ever been treated for swimming. That is not possible to put chlorine into a lake. What you do is you treat it for weeds, and that's what we have done. And that's what always has gotten done, and that's what continues to get done every year.
That's the weed boat.
Yes, that's when the boats come, the hydro boat comes, and it throws all the stuff out, and then the little signs go up all over saying this was just treated. That's what they were treated for. They were not treated for swimming. It's not a swimming pool. It will never be a swimming pool. And Big Mark's like,
We would need 3 tankers.
And the water moves constantly. You got to remember, as our dams broke, because everybody is connected. So if we were to treat here, that means we just treated 900 other lakes in the area.
Yeah. And when it rains, the rainwater goes in there and makes the level higher. You can't. We would need too many tanker trucks of chlorine.
Yeah.
Well, if you think about it, anybody that owns a pool and you try to keep your pH straight, even after a good rain, your pH is turned off completely off.
Even if it's sunny out, it goes off.
Right.
It's like everything goes in. All right, the last question, which I'm not positive of the answer, I just texted Jackie and she did not get back to me, so her phone might be dead because she was traveling all day. Will JD Management's name be removed from the property which is owned by MLCA? I believe we might have a couple signs that were put up as adult or responsible adult on the lake signs. They might say JD Management under there. I'm not positive. If they are, I'm sure we'll deal with it somehow. If JD Management's number's on there some way, we'll deal with getting it off. We can talk to the sign guy. You might be able to put it up. Blank one, or get the new management company. I mean, we've done it with transitions before. They kind of just put it blank with the new, get the new one written down, then throw it on top of where ours is with their phone number and everything. So
that's a big deal. I don't know why I'm cutter. I can make one.
Yeah, like I don't think it's that big.
Yeah. It's like putting it's a bumper sticker you put on.
Yeah, it's not that. It's not going to be a big deal. We will deal with it. Yeah, whenever it comes. I mean, the little blanks aren't that much, so that will be it. And that was all I got on the emails for tonight.
Any other questions?
I had 2 questions. The first one was for the notice about limiting the MLCA for events that are only sponsored and sanctioned. Is there a form to fill out to get sanctioned? So we're hoping, God willing, that everything can start up the cornhole again.
It's only being done for COVID.
Okay.
Okay, we can't, as an organization, if you're having a cornhole over there, and you have a guest comes in, and he says, I got COVID in Marlton Lakes, and he turns around and sues us.
Even without COVID, I'm just wondering what the process of getting.
No, you will be able to. It's only being done so that we don't end up being sued because we have no coverage for COVID. Nobody has coverage for it.
One other, the second question I had was, I know I'm proud. We've only been here just over 6 years, but I love being a Laker. Has there ever been any work done or anything with branding in terms of like a swag store? People can buy like Marlton Lake shirts, car magnets, things of that nature. That could bring
at one time, I can tell you this, at one time they used to put stickers on the back of your car, like a number, so that they knew that your car belonged in the neighborhood. Other than that.
But that was one of the events I was also thinking was, just if people wanted to come up with some new ideas for branding and we have like a
sweatshirts,
design
t-shirts.
Wendy Mitchell actually did that.
Yes.
Yeah, she did like little tote bags.
Yeah, it was really gorgeous.
Yeah, I mean, like, on my new truck, I in my round car, just, life's better on the lakes, Marlton Lakes, New Jersey, just a quick final one.
So that's it. So all those guys who were swimming over there for free followed you in. Exactly.
There you go. That could be something really fun. That's a lot of places that say zero inventory companies online to do that kind of stuff too. So didn't know if there was any limitations around that in terms of copyrights or anything like that.
No, I'll just have to run past the board.
Just have to run past the board. If you put a design,
There's a little kid that fishes on the other side every single night during the sunset. I think he should be on it. And it's just there. It's silhouette.
Absolutely. That would be perfect.
That's my godson. I'll say it. I'll give you the opinion.
All right. Any more questions?
No.
I make a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second. Thank you for coming, ladies and gentlemen.
But wait, it's before 10 o'clock.
Let's take the last question. Here are nomination forms for the board. I have for you, I printed out.
I do not need Dave.
What?
I do not need Dave.
Anybody?
Thank you all for everything.
Filthy upstairs.
Yeah.